my name is Lexi Jong, and here I like to talk about luxury makeup. And today we're going to take a look at the two new limited edition blushes from SUQQU for spring 2021. These are limited edition, and the 125, the peachier blush, has been a little bit easier to get a hold of than the 124, the pink one. So let's take a look. So the blush comes in the typical blush compact. It is a click closure. There is a little piece of plastic over the product or over the mirror, and it does come with a little blush brush. This is 124. These are 0.26 ounces or 7.5 grams, and they are made in Japan with a 12-month shelf life. And let me show you the pink. So this is just the pink on its own. And then you can see there's a little bit of a highlight here as well. So this is what the highlight looks like. And let me show you them mixed together. And I typically wear it mixed together. This is 125, and let's look at this. This is the blush by itself. I'm gonna leave some space for some swatch comparisons. And the highlight. You can see that the highlight between the pink and the peach are a little different. Surprisingly, the one in the pink actually has a touch more gold, which is unusual. Usually, it seems like the pinks are usually paired with more cooler tone white, because you can see this is a cooler tone pink. And this shade here in 125, it's sort of like a soft pumpkin mango type shade, kind of like a squash, but it's definitely not really just peach. It's not a typical peach. I actually think it's a very unique shade. So I have a few application clips to show you of these blushes, using each of them with a very light, soft, fluffy brush, and also with something denser, such as the Sonia G Smooth Buffer. So let me show you those, then we'll come back for some comparisons, and I'll tell you a little bit more about this formula. All right, so I'm going to apply the 124 blush with the Sonia G Cheek Pro, and we're going to see what kind of finish we get with a softer brush. All right, so there we go, just a really nice soft flush, and I'll see you in a minute. We're gonna try out the new SUQQU Blush in 124, and I'm gonna use the Sonia G Smooth Buffer, and I'm focusing more on the pink part right now. And we're gonna buff this into the cheek. You can see that this blush, you know, it's going on with kind of like this soft, blurred effect on the cheek. It's pretty light though. There. So this time I mixed a little bit of the highlighting shade in there. Let's just see. It's definitely buildable. And I have to say that's pretty seamless. All right, so this is built up in 2 layers. Normally I would just wear 1 layer, but to truly see the color, you can see that it's not gonna be like a super bright pink or anything like that. It's gonna be a soft pink flush. It's gonna look seamless with the skin. It can be built up for more intensity. And overall, I think it's a really nice option. All right, we're testing out the new SUQQU Spring Blush in 125, and I'm using the SUQQU KZ04. So just have some on here, and I think this is gonna be light. Let's see. Now, Jorge Makeup on Instagram, he is one of the makeup artists for SUQQU, And he does have a video where, I can't remember if he put this one or the pink one on someone with a deeper skin tone. See, I lost a hair. But it looked really pretty. So I think this will be a buildable blush, but you can see that it's going on fairly lightly on me. So this is the blush on me with a light application. You can definitely see that there's a little bit of a peachy mango type of tint to it. And this is, you know, it's got this lighter area here, acts more like a highlight. You can actually see some of that sheen on the cheeks as well. So we'll try building this blush up another time. But this is it for today. Today we're going to be using the Synergy Smooth Buffer with this peachy blush from the SUQQU Spring Collection. This is number 125. We're just going to see how nice of a peachy shade we can get with something a little bit more dense. And I'm concentrating the brush mostly in the deeper part here without the highlight. I did get a little bit of the highlight on there. Not too much. And there we go. You can see that color has built up quite nicely. So this is the shade 125 from the SUQQU Spring Collection. All right, let's start off with some comparisons. This was the limited edition 122 blush that came out for the holidays. We're gonna swatch the blush and the highlight here, up here. And again, this one was really in demand. You can see it's a similar color story, but the pink is going to be a little bit warmer. Actually, both the blush and the highlight are a tad warmer, but you can see that the highlight shades are fairly similar. Whereas the pink in the 122 is going to be a little bit warmer and deeper. It's a little bit more pigmented. You can see there's a touch of peach in there as well. Just to show you those mixed together, I'll put that right here and see the difference. Also taking a look at the 123 blush from this same collection. We've got the blush and the highlight here. And you can see that the blush is going to be way more yellow. This is like a true butternut squash shade, whereas this is really more of a mango pumpkin. And the highlight here is going to be a warm, soft gold. And in the new one here, 125, you can see that it's going to be a cooler toned white. There's actually a touch of pink in it. And I think that combination is very nice. And this is just the two mixed together, the highlight and the blush. Now a few other comparisons with the pink 124. This is Guimauve from Surratt. And this is another light, cool tone pink. And we're going to put this right at the top. You can see that the Surratt is going to be cooler and brighter than the new 124. I also wanted to take a look at the Chanel Tweed Pink. And this one, again, this one's going to have a little sparkle in it, but you can see it's also going to be a little bit of a cooler tone pink. It's very, very soft. And you can see that it's slightly cooler in tone. Let me make that a little darker. So it's got some similarity there. I think that's probably going to be the closest match I have. But you can see that the new SUQQU is slightly, just the tiniest bit warmer. And it's also a little bit more pigmented as well than the Tweed Pink. And I just wanted to compare the Chantecaille Bliss shade or Butterfly. And this really isn't going to be that similar, but I just wanted to show you because formula-wise, you know, I think it's another nice, soft, smooth blush, but you can see that the Butterfly is a lot warmer. It's almost a mix of the Butterfly and the Surratt to give you the new 124. Let me show you those mixed. All right, so here are the two shades mixed. I'm just gonna put it right there. And you can see that that is actually a really good combination. So if you have both of those, you could mix them together to get the similar effect as the 124 blush. Now, as for the 125, I don't really have anything too close to it. The closest I have is Peau de Pache from Surratt. And we're going to take a look at the shade. So I'm going to put that right there. You can see that the Surratt's going to be a lot deeper, more pigmented. They do have a little bit of a similar tone, but there's actually a little bit more pink or red in the Surratt shade than there is in the 125. I think the 125 is a very unique shade. Now, just a note that the two SUQQU cheek palettes that came out during the fall and winter last year, those colors are all way more pigmented and very different from these, so that's why I didn't compare them. I also want to go over a formula comparison between those because these are slightly different than the ones in the cheek palettes. Now, as for the formula of these limited edition blushes, these are intended to be very soft, sheer washes of color. You've got the blush, you've got the highlight there. You can separate them or you can mix them together. I typically like to mix them. I think they give a really beautiful sheen, and they do have a slight blurring effect on the cheek as well. Now, one of the great things about these being such a soft wash of color is you don't have to be afraid to apply too much. You're really not going to apply too much. So it's really easy to blend out. And whether you use a soft, fluffy brush to really kind of just get a barely there flush like I have on today, or whether you're going in with something more dense like the Sonia G Smooth Buffer, to get a little bit stronger color. Either way, they both provide a beautiful finish, and I think they give a really natural effect on the cheeks. Now, I have seen on Instagram these blushes being used on really deep skin tones. I don't know. I can't say one way or the other how well that would work. I personally find that these are very light and soft. And for me, if I wanted to get a lot of color from it, I'd really have to work at building them up. So I don't really know how much pigment you would see on deeper skin tones. I feel like it would be used more as like a highlighting blush, kind of more like a topper, or just to give a little bit of a soft ethereal effect. So that's just my opinion on the topic. If any of you with deeper skin tones have tried these blushes, I would love to know what you think of them. I have to say that the ones in the 101 and 102 cheek palettes that came out in the end of 2020, those are definitely more pigmented, and the product itself for them isn't quite as smooth. So those blushes are fantastic. I love them. But when you're blending them out, they don't blend out quite as smoothly as these do. This one, the texture is just a little bit silkier. And again, as I mentioned, it's almost like there's finishing powder in it. It's kind of like a finishing powder blush. So it not only does it have that soft blurred effect to it, but it's just gonna have a little bit of a silkier texture. I'm not sure how else to describe that. But I do think that the ones in the cheek palette, aside from being more pigmented blushes in general, if you go to blend them out, they adhere a little bit more strongly where you put them. So they aren't quite as easy to blend out as these ones are here. Now, as I mentioned, these blushes are limited edition. I think they are gorgeous shades. We have the pink one and the highlight here. This is 124. And again, this here is the mix of these two, which is the Chantecaille Butterfly and the Surratt Guimauve. And you can get kind of the same color, but more pigmented version of it when you mix those together. But you can see that they do have a similar look. The highlight here is going to be a very soft pale gold. And it's interesting to see more of that cooler tone pink with a warmer toned highlight. I think they actually work really well together. I think it's a gorgeous combination. I really like the blush. The 125 is over here. So I actually have to say that this is a very unique blush to me. I don't have a shade like this. And honestly, I haven't really seen one that is more of this mango shade. So usually they're like more orange or more peach. And this is really kind of a little bit different. So I think this is a unique shade. I think it is definitely worth picking up if it's a shade that interests you. And just like we had the cooler tone pink with the warmer tone highlight, here we actually have a little bit of a cooler tone highlight with a warmer tone blush. Now this blush is not overly warm, and the pink blush isn't overly cool either. They're still rather close to the neutral side of the spectrum, but they do kind of have opposite tones of the highlighter that they're paired with. And I think it makes a really nice juxtaposition and they look beautiful together. So if you had to pick one of these, my vote would be actually for the 125 because I think that shade is more unique than the 124. The 124 is a beautiful soft pink, but there are many, many soft pink blushes out there on the market. So even if one of the ones I have don't quite work, I am sure there is something out there that is a little bit closer. Whereas this more mango shade, again, I've just never really quite seen something with those tones. So I think it's going to be a little bit more unique. Now, if you have missed both of these blushes, are you missing out? You know, is this something that you need to search for? By the way, everything has been stocked on other retailers now, such as Cult Beauty and Harrods. So definitely take a look there if you're interested. I don't think that these are must-have blushes. I really like them. I definitely want to keep including them in my collection. I think they are really beautiful, soft, easy to use, but you know, they're not going to be for everybody because they are so soft and sheer. So if you missed them, you know, I don't think it's anything to cry over. If, however, you are looking for a really soft wash of color that is really easy not to overdo, and you've got kind of that option of having the highlighter blend it in versus having it separate and so forth, these are a really great option. And if you have the opportunity to pick them up, I wouldn't hesitate, but it's also not something that I would go out of my way to track down, if that makes sense. I hope this was helpful, and if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. And again, I really enjoy these blushes and I really like them. If you have the opportunity to get them and they are colors that interest you, I would definitely pick them up. However, if you've missed them, you know, I don't think there's something that you need to search out and, you know, pay an extra premium to purchase. So that's just my personal opinion. I would love to hear from those of you who have already purchased these blushes, what you think of them, and how they compare to other blushes in your collection. Thank you so much for joining me. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please make sure you do. And I will see you very soon. So have a great day and stay safe and healthy.